All right, so welcome to creating a MIKUSONA part 2. Last video, I showed you 3 drawings after 4 attempts, and this was the one that we ended up on. But after that, I said that I will be redrawing it or recoloring it and be posting a part 2 very soon. So why did it take me so long to upload the second video? Well, after I recolored it, I decided that it didn't really warrant a second video just to recolor, so I decided that I'm going to draw the character again with a different pose and a different coloring method, and I'm going to make that into a part 2. So today I'm actually showing you 2 different drawings. One is the recolor of the original sketch, and 2 is a brand new sketch and a different coloring style. And at the end, I hope that you guys can actually take the time of your day and give me a critique on which one you actually prefer. I'm actually unsatisfied with both of them, but with different reasonings for both of them, and I'm going to discuss it today. And after you see the discussion, after you see what I have my input on it, and after you see both the drawings, it would be great if any of you guys take the time of your day to just give me a critique or a rundown about why you like one over the other, why do you hate both, why do you like both, whatever your decision is. That'd be great. If you just want to put a sentence saying, hey, I like the right one over the left one, that'll be enough, because that will at least give me insight about which one or which style you guys might prefer. Regardless, we're going to continue right now. So this was the last piece that we made, and I'm going to elaborate about why I disliked it so much. It's mostly just the coloring. Yes, the sketch has problems. Yes, this drawing has a lot of flaws, but I feel like there weren't any different flaws than if I were just to draw any other drawing, right? I feel like the specific issue in this specific piece was that the coloring looks horrific, and in my opinions, horrific is the perfect term. This to me looks absolute garbage, and the reason is because it looks so flat, incredibly flat. I think the best example is this specific arm right here, where there is a bit of shadow, but the majority of this arm is just one singular block of color with very little variation with the coloring, and I just think that it just overall sucks. The shading is not great. It doesn't look very great, and it's because there's not many varying different tones and different values of the shadow. And I think the color decisions, like the choices of color that I actually picked for this character, is pretty bad. I think the green in the highly saturated green in the hair is awful. This muddy orange is horrible. This dark shirt is fine. I actually like it. I mean, it's supposed to mimic a shirt that I wear in real life, so it's fine. But this teal color just isn't it either. Lastly, another problem is that you can clearly tell there is a light source coming from the right-hand side, but for some reason, despite that it kind of looks like a pretty strong light, there is no color that comes from the light either, which I feel like it's also adding to the flatness of this drawing. It just looks flat by so many factors that I really hated it. So my goal for the second recolor was to just add some variety in color, reduce and re-choose some of the coloring and saturation, and also add a color for the light which is shining from the right. So how does it look? This is the second attempt. So this is what it looks like after the recoloring. You can kind of tell that this arm has a lot more variety going on. In fact, there's actually more shading just so there is more variety to it. You can also see that there is a highlight layer now. There is no longer just a flat coloring it's just like there's not just a darker side and a slightly less darker side. There's actually a darker side, a slightly less darker side, and a light side, which is the highlight of it. The shirt color has completely changed. My thought process here was that if I wanted some more varying shading, varying values in the shading, I can't work with such a dark shirt because it'll be hard to see the variety. So I changed it to brown because this time the strong light coming from the right is colored yellow, and I assumed that if a strong yellow would hit something like that, it would kind of turn it brownish, right? That was my thought process, right? And the color of the hair has been reduced from this oversaturated green to a more yellowish greenish hue, which you could argue is coming from the yellow light, but the saturation did go down by quite a bit, right? So that's what I made, and overall I'm still not very happy with it, if I have to be really honest. I could say it is an improvement because I do think it is overall an improvement from the last illustration, but that doesn't mean I'm really happy with it. I do think the highlight layer is a great addition. I do think the color of the lighting is a great addition, despite the fact that it's very strong. I feel like it's too yellow almost. I feel like the color of the light is affecting too much stuff, almost as if I'm compensating because I didn't put any at all. Like I overshot it by way too much, and I still think that the shadows could be darker, despite the fact that I changed the color to brown. And though I did add some more values within, I added more values than just one single value in the shadow, I still think it could go darker. Like if I were to change it, I feel like the value of the coloring doesn't vary too much unless it's like something as obvious as this. I just think I could be doing overall better. So I decided that I would do another drawing, but I really wasn't a fan of the idea of doing the same exact sketch again. So I decided after I come back from my trip, the wedding, I would look and redraw the character as like maybe change some design choices, change the color choices again, and overall change the posing so it's a little bit more exciting, right? And also I did change the expression. I'm very tired of drawing this very blank expression that she has, so I did change the expression, which I'm actually pretty happy about. So let's look at the new illustration, and then I'll put them side by side so we can directly compare, right? So this is the new sketch right here. So you can tell that there are a couple design changes. Firstly, her hair is, whoa, what is this? Where did I click? So firstly, her hair is a bun. It is no longer kind of like it's no longer short hair that's trying to be pulled into a ponytail. It's clearly long hair that's put up into two buns. So the bun is peeking from behind the bangs right here. The eyes are no longer a green. It is now an orange yellowish hue, and the 01 from what Miku usually has, her 01 on her shoulder, is now moved to her thigh and is actually showing now. Lastly, I did change the color back to black because I feel like if I just try a little harder, I can make it work, and also because it's also based on a real shirt I have that I'm wearing currently, actually. And I also put an ankle bracelet on her. No, not the criminal thing that you get put on during house arrest. I don't really know if people often wear these anymore. I don't really see it, but my mom, my grandma, and my aunt wear this. But I put it on her because I feel like if I was a girl, I would get an ankle bracelet. If my mom had a daughter, she would give me an ankle bracelet. Hence, I want to give her an ankle bracelet, right? It was just some charming thing that I want to add on for a little bit more character design and a little bit more personality, right? Boom. So what did I do differently this time? So first off, you can clearly tell that I dialed in the yellow lights. There is still a yellowish hue over the whole thing, and that's not just the background, but I definitely dialed it in a little bit back more. I didn't want it to be so powerful. So I thought it was a little bit crazy. I did change the pants color to more of a sky blue. And overall, the main coloring method that I use this time, instead of just doing it like kind of shotgunning it, is grayscale. So essentially you color the piece with a lack of color, using focusing mostly on values from grays and dark grays, really focusing in on the shadow. And then afterwards you essentially mask a layer, change it to overlay, and you just pick the color you choose and paint right over it, and it automatically assumes the tones that you previously placed. And that's how it looks like now. So what we're going to do after that explanation is we're going to compare them like this, like so. So this is what they look like side by side. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of hate how I colored this, but I like the sketching from this more. So let me give you my personal opinions. So let's show you guys this. This is what they look like as a sketch. I like this piece more as a sketch. I think it looks very cute. I think the expression is very nice. I'm very happy that there is actually an expression this time. It feels like it adds a lot more personality and characteristic to the drawing. I like the bun. I like how I did the hair. It isn't so overly complicated. Like, I don't hate this, but I'm much more a fan of this more simplistic strands of hair rather than having to go in so hard on this. I do also think that the clothes were drawn with a lot more intention. The folds just seem a lot better, and overall I think they look more realistic even though they're more simplistic, because this down here is just horribly inaccurate to me. I also think the design changes are nice. Granted, I do kind of like the line work of this, but I also like how thick the line work here is as well. I like it on both ends, but because there's no preference, it's, kind of up in the air. Now, the real problem is when it actually comes to the coloring, because this is when I like this one more. When it comes to the coloring, I feel as though I actually like the yellow more. There's a huge problems, of course, but I feel like having more of a paintbrushy style that shows the highlights and having more control of the color instead of just relying on grayscale leads me to be, one, a better artist actually, because I have a lot more control, and two, I feel like there is actually more variety when it comes to looking at really close. Like I can see the brush strokes, and that's cool that I can see the brush strokes. I enjoy being able to see that. I also feel that it just feels like it takes a lot more skill. It feels like when I'm coloring like this, it feels as though I am cheating myself out of being able to color appropriately by just using a layer clipped to the other one and just painting like that. It doesn't feel like I'm gaining anything from that. So that's kind of how I feel after looking at these. They're not particularly any better than the other, I don't think. I just like different aspects more. So now it's really, what do you guys think? Because I'm really am up in the air. I do kind of like how this looks, but I'm overall disappointed at the process of the coloring and the final outcome of it, as it's missing a lot of texture. But I also think that this is not great as like a whole. I think the sketching of the pants and the shirt look off, and it's very yellow. Like I really fucked up. I don't know why I made it so ungodly yellow. But regardless, thank you for watching. This is what I came up with the past 2 weeks, and I'm sorry for not uploading last week. I'll be back soon enough after I decide what to draw next, and I hope to see you guys very soon. But just an early thank you to those, if you do take the time out of your day to give me a comment, to give me some critique. I really appreciate it. I know that I ask a lot sometimes and I don't give back a lot sometimes. You know, my upload schedule sucks, but regardless, I do appreciate every single comment. I do appreciate every single like, and I do appreciate every single subscription. Have a great day, guys. Take good care, and I hope to see you soon.